I am always happy to see Jin. Jin is so far my favorite character in Eden Zero. First, when he showed up, it was more of just I really liked his design. I thought he was really cool. And then we found out he was a space cyborg wind manipulating ninja, which just made him cooler instantly. We found out, he was pretty. He was into the whole kind of darker villain thing, not because he was a bad guy, but because he wanted to help his sister. And then, easily became my favorite character at that point. He was just very badass, very cool. And then the whole realization that he's going to be, the enemy turned good guy. And I will forever love that trope, whether it be Godzilla, Let, who else am I thinking? Mars, Gara, any of those guys. I will never be tired of that trope. That's one of those tropes I just always like. It's like the badass old guy. It's there. When they show up, some really experienced old guys. It's like, listen, I know your game. I know what the author is doing. I just wanted to see what it is already. It's you are aware it's going to happen, and you know it's going to happen. It's really just when it happens, and generally, it's just always such a fun time. Anyway, but Jin, first let's just get to the first part of the chapter. So, as we left off, Draken Joe, he's in his bath, and Rebecca's in his room. He gets up. He has this weird machine. I'm actually very curious if it's real. Maybe not that exact one, but some like steam kind of, some rich guy. He's got a steam dryer. But gets up, puts on his robe, pours himself a drink, and he is at that point talking to Rebecca, who's explaining like, listen, one, don't reach for your gun. I don't want to disturb, the cute sleeping cat. He's aware that Happy Bot can turn into guns. Like, Draken Joe seems very a step above all these guys, but he's making sure that she knows, like, hey, listen, nothing you do is gonna really matter, so just listen to me when I talk to you. So he's saying how Noah, the leader of the Shooting Starlight Guild, ended up just kind of selling her out, and she seems a little bit surprised by it, a little bit upset, but the thing is, guilds, the guilds that when you think Aero Mishima is always, it's gonna be obvious. You think of the Fairy Tail Guild. The guilds in Fairy Tail the series, generally, like when you think of the concept, they're job hubs. You go there, they have jobs offered that, they got information from, or people, sent stuff, send this to these guilds, we need to get this done. And, you go take the guild, or the job, or you go and do it, the guild gets a cut, rinse and repeat. This is like a job thing for you. This is what you're gonna do for your money. The only thing is, sometimes big world plot stuff gets involved in it. Things intertwined and crazy world ending stuff happens. But in that world, guilds very much, they become closer, they form bands, they form bonds. Whereas the Shooting Starlight Guild is too big for that. I mean, it's kind of like the difference between working at a small building, a small company or something, small store. And it's like, oh yeah, we have 25 people that work here. I know all of them. Versus, you work in some giant factory headquarters and there's 4,000 people that, are in this building at a time. You're going to know a couple people, but really it's not like you can name everybody there. And he's like saying, you shouldn't trust someone like, no, that guy, no, you're not going to want that. But he's saying how he wants something precious that was on the Eden Zero ship. That being, what I thought was going to be, what's behind the door, the 3173 door, the Ellie door. But we'll say that till the end of the video, because the whole first part is just like, it's setting up the fact that he's going to be talking to her. Not where my interest really is in this chapter. My interest in the fact that, we got Jin now going to go against Shiki. Sylph has decided, she was pretty much told to go after Homura, and whereas Shiki, it was pretty much Jin stopped Shiki from going to stop Sylph from going to stop Mora, who's going to help Weiss. A big jumble of characters trying to intercept each other. But he's like saying, like, listen, you're going to be dealing with me. Right now I have a job. I'm a mercenary to act as her assistant, or yeah, pretty much her assistant, her bodyguard. He's doing anything that will aid her. And though this is his sister, and Shiki's just like, listen, if you're her brother, aren't you supposed to be family? He ends up, going back to fighting him. And Shiki doesn't, he's like, listen, doing evil things is not, a good thing family should do. He just wants to know where Rebecca is. He's trying to rescue his friend. And with Jin, I was a little bit worried because I'm like, well, Jin and Shiki already fought before. And though they had, like, a pretty, even display back when they were first starting out, but on Gilst, that wasn't really the case. He was able to go against multiple of those guys. Oh my god, what was that weird alien's name? Was it Ganoff, I think, and the fake sister and Jin? He was able to fight them all at once. And I've mentioned this before. Hiro Mashima, one of the things about the series is the first chunk is going to be more of like introductory. You're finding out about the main cast, you're finding out about their personalities, a little bit about their backstory, you're finding about their powers, what they're capable of. It's a little bit different with Haru, in the fact that Haru started out though with somewhat idea of fighting, and he physically trained himself at least to be fit. He didn't really have any experience in actual combat, and he didn't have any actual experience with his powers at the time. Whereas you have Natsu, who he started out with both grasp on his powers, and he'd been working for years, so he both had experience in combat and executing his powers in general. Shiki has experience with his powers like before the series began, but he didn't really have combat experience. He was just taking out on Granville, just doing his thing. And really, up until in Fairy Tail, up until the point of until his fight with Gajeel, Natsu really he never really had like a real fight that pushed him. I mean, he had his fight with Aragorn, but Aragorn was more of that kind of just first real display character, rather it's just like, here's what I'm fully capable. It kind of like with the Parasite Elsie Crimson. It wasn't that same kind of thing. It's not the same kind of thing that I'm going for. It was that this character is going to go all out and just show you what they can do. Whereas someone like Gajeel was the first time Natsu had to, pretty much break through its limits. He had to put, his everything and more into being able to defeat his opponent. And that's what I believe Shiki's going to be with Jin. I think he's going to have to go all out, kind of push himself, and actually advance his strength in order to defeat him. And I'm hoping that Jin ends up after he, I'm gonna say it, I 100% believe he's gonna join the Eden Zero crew. And if he joins in the crew, then, well, before that, maybe what will lead up to him joining is him and Shiki will fight against Drac and Joe, which again would be a really cool tag team. Two super mobility guys against them, and especially when Drac and Joe not only is powerful, but he's not only smart, but his alchemy ability is very broken. But now you have this whole explanation where Jin is like, you're about the same strength as you were on Gilst. You haven't gotten any more powerful, whereas I have. Jin's body, being very robotic, he's essentially explaining how he altered his parts, he messed with his body in order to make himself stronger, which made me very happy, because in Fairy Tail, my favorite member of the Spriggan 12 was Wall. I really liked it. Wall, even though he was a, in quotations, wizard, his magic was really just an analysis for the most part, and then using magic to swap out, different parts and weapons, so he could fight his opponents. He was kind of like with Urza with Requite, but purely into just all these kind of different body parts that had different machinery attachments or different, movement speed based things. And that seems to be like what Jin is going to kind of be going for. I don't like, not the Arsenal build, because the Arsenal build is obviously like a much bigger boost. I am hoping that if Jin ends up, when Jin ends up joining the crew, him and Wise at some point have a tag team match. Because just imagine Wise being able to full, like in real time, like customize Jin's body parts in order to give him like better components or stuff. That'd also be a really cool way in order to just give Jin kind of like unfair power-ups. It's like in between arcs, I'd be like, hey, I saw that you were lacking on this thing at this point, so let me help you by, altering your limbs and whatnot. Plus, they'd be able to fix him a lot easier. That healer and a super mechanic. But he's like saying how he's 320% stronger, and he's gonna show him the true power of an ether gear. And he, has this ability, he calls it overdrive, and he's got this ether gear no longer on just his body, but also swirling around it. And so I'm wondering, one, if this whole thing is specifically what his power-up is called, like it's not only ether gear, but it's also like his machine parts, because you can see like parts of his body like open up and stuff, more of his robot parts and active. But one two, the overdrive Rave Master reference is awesome, very fun. Or if it's the what it's called when your ether gear goes to the point where it's going off your body, because we've seen with Shiki back when he fought the parasite that pretended to be Elsie, as well as with Kurenai, that when he went into that further form and his hair changed colors, I assume it's green, he had the little wings on his forehead. So I'm wondering if that's what this power is going to be called. I'm hoping actually it's. I'm hoping this is more of the power up specifically named for Jin while he's in this kind of all like enhanced robotic state on top of everything else. Just because I think it'd be cooler to be specific to him for the reference instead of being the power up in general of what the Ether Gear is going to be called. I'm alright with either. I prefer this one more. But it'll be really cool if they end up, teaming up, because not only could they have a really cool rival, but you would have someone who'd be able to help Shiki in advancing his Ether Gear, because even though he has Ether Gear, he was taught it by Ziggy. He doesn't seem to really know the depths of like how, Ether Gear and where it kind of really works, because we already, when back when we went to Norma, like he didn't really understand even what Ether was at the time. Then we get back to Ellie, Ellie. I'm mixing up referencing Hero Machine's other works, and I messed up calling Rebecca Ellie instead. But Draken Joe goes to show her that he has like ability. He's like, oh, wasn't this person mean to you? And now this is my gift to you. And she's like bloodied and beaten up and chained and blindfolded and crying. And here's the thing. Labilia is not nice, but she's not evil. Everything that she's done, she's just a bully. I mean, it's not even that big a bullying. It's mostly playing pranks, just saying like mean girl things to Rebecca. The most that should have happened to her is Rebecca do something that embarrassed her, and I don't know, pantsed her or something, and while doing a video. It's something that it's like, haha, I got you. People are gonna make fun of you or something. You're embarrassed. Absolutely not this. I know some people were like, screw her. She should get killed in some like explosion or something. I've seen some of the comments a little bit vicious. I don't agree with that. I mean, she was like back when on Gilst, when she got she was gonna get taken. She ended up being the one that offered Rebecca as take her instead. I'd be like, all right, you're getting into some much meaner territories, but I mean, what's the worst that she's done? Like pour food on her or whatever it was back on the Sunshine. She's not that bad. Absolutely does not deserve to be tortured. I'm curious to know though if she's gonna end up losing her legs, because if you go back and look at the spread when we first got the little teaser for Eden Zero, you got all the characters. She had it's either robotic or armor clad legs, and I'm alright if she ends up getting kind of a redemption arc. Hers would barely be a redemption arc. It would literally just be, hey, be less mean. It's not like Jalal, hey, you enslaved a lot of people for years, and who knows how many other people died. You killed one of your childhood friends and tortured the woman you love. Lability is just like, yeah, you're just really mean. Stop being so mean. And if she ends up joining the crew, I'm wondering if it'll be like robot, like exosuit enhanced legs, or if she's gonna lose her legs and she's got to escape somehow, and she ends up getting robotic replacements. Maybe that can be her thing, like with Jin, is they have this understanding of each other having robot parts. But then it's revealed something actually part of the ship that Draken Joe wanted. It was actually Rebecca, and he calls her Rebecca Bluegarden, and or should I say number 29. So that is very intriguing, and it's not just her name. I'm more interested in the whole number 29 thing, because really quick, just looking at the two female leads before, you had Ellie. She was believed as this person part of this project to artificially give someone a Therion, and then it turned out it wasn't the case. Therion was actually her power originally. You had Lucy, who she herself wasn't special, but she was from a special family as the Heartfilias, and their connection to celestial magic, as well as their whole involvement in the Dragon Slayer plan. She ended up kind of becoming special, not from, former status or, happenstance bloodline. It was more just her efforts and, how much she connected with all the others, with the celestial spirits that she summoned. The point where she's the only one that we know that has a Stardress, and not even that, because she's got Stardust mix. And with Rebecca, we know that now she's got Leaper. We don't know what special, the full extent of what Leaper is capable of. But the fact that her last name is named after, Blue Garden, the planet that the Shooting Starlight Guild is part of, it makes me wonder, is she some form, I feel like the number 29, I don't think she's going to be some form of royalty. I think it's going to be more of my guess is it will have something to explain, for instance, how accurate she is with her guns. She is very accurate with a shot. Maybe, it's, number 29, maybe Experiment 29. maybe she's like some form of, set of trained like people. Like she was gonna be some, like a warrior or something, some form of like mercenary, kind of like Jin, or just some form like a super soldier, trained up to be some spec op, and then they're named after the planet or something. It's got to be something interesting enough that it's not just like, oh, she's some princess or whatever. I think some form of trained warrior, something, and a Draken Joe's mind, because if it was like a princess, it'd be kind of weird if you're number 29 in the family. Like, what would the 29 be? Are you one of 29? Then why would it really matter if you're gone if there's that many other ones? Where if it's like, oh, you're a set of 29 plus super soldiers or something, then it would make her a lot more interesting. Plus, it would make sense why Draken Joe would want her if she was valuable as a potential member of her crew. Because he does say that she's going to be a member of his crew now. But also would explain, like I said, why she's such a good shot. So, looking forward to the next chapter, for obvious reasons of the whole like number 29 thing. It's a little bit sneaky and spooky there. But also, Jin versus Shiki. I really want to see more of what Jin is capable of as, my favorite character in the series so far. And plus, mobility versus mobility is going to be a really cool. We're probably going to get a lot more weird angles and a lot of very, neat aerial maneuvers between them. But anyway, other than that, comment below. Tell me your thoughts about this. Do you think that Overdrive, that when he's saying the power-up, is that his mechanical parts and his ether gear, like, a specific what his power-up is going to be called? Or do you think it's what the further state of ether gear is going to be called? Other than that, I would really appreciate a thumbs up the video, but from the like button, the subscribe button, and check out my other videos. And that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank y'all for listening. Bye.